Hi, I'm here with Sue Ellis-Saller in all the way from Austria. She's got a piece in the book and she's going to discuss a little bit about what she does and about her contribution to this and other books and what she does. Sue is just as passionate and just as much of an activist as I am, because we both believe that in the whole premise of this book of Choices for Change, because you have the power to make significant changes both in your life and the world, and we want you to believe in yourself for that. So on that note, take it away, Sue.
Hi, thank you, Andy. So, yeah, and I think that you hit the nail on the head with that because, this book is all about the authors who have come to a place in their life where they have to make a change. And so, right now, with the state of the world and the way that things are, we're in a change point. We are facing a point where we know that we can't continue on in the way that things have been going. And first of all, thank you too for inviting me to contribute to the book. I've been in a book of yours before. It was Motivation, Momentum, and Manifestation. And being a part of these shared books where there's multi-authors and a lot of people sharing their different stories has really given me a space to kind of tiptoe my way into being a published author and really helping me to build my confidence in sharing my stories with the world. So I appreciate being a part of your book.
Well, and you also help to edit the Motivation, Momentum, and Manifesting, which I'm very grateful for as well, because it is a wonderful opportunity to be able to work with you on these different projects. You do bring such a passionate light to them, and this piece that you shared in Choices for Change is definitely a deeper peek into your soul, and I'm grateful that you felt safe to share that with everybody in this publication.
Thank
So
you. Thank you. And that was the whole thing. Like when you realize that sharing your deepest, darkest, most transformational, and and sometimes you have to say shameful and embarrassing looking back. And for me personally, looking back at what I had allowed my life to become, or what I was struggling with in my own, and how having my daughter, her name is Epiphany, and you know getting these epiphanies that related to her and how I needed to change myself in order to be the person who I wanted to be was, so she is the one who made it all possible, actually. So, but yeah, being vulnerable and opening up at that level is scary. It's scary, even if you're used to being an activist and you're used to speaking out, because sometimes it's much easier to point a finger at the system or point the finger at um, what is currently going on, because that allows my own struggles to not be the focal point. But when you open up and you're vulnerable in a book, your struggles are the point that you're talking about, and they're also very inspirational for other people. They also let other people know that despite how you look on the outside, or how you've managed to manifest your life in the same way that we were talking about in the last book, what you've been able to manifest in your life, it doesn't mean that you've avoided darkness at all. It doesn't mean that your life has been all rainbows and unicorn, riding on the back of a unicorn into this, perfect world. We all face struggles. And so opening up about those struggles is actually really important. And it's a important part of activism as well.
well, and that's what I've found with sharing the first draft with a lot of the authors and whatever as well, is even the authors reading each other's pieces was forming a connection between everybody, because it was like, oh, I'm not alone in going through this. That's amazing, that here's someone else. And like, to your point of all the different authors in the book, there's everybody has their own unique voice of how they've gone through the messiness and gone through the struggle to find their solutions and to do their change, right? And so having all these different voices and these different perspectives on sometimes the same issue can really help people to find their place and find their voice and realize that like their story has meaning as well, you know. And the driving force of the book is the quote about you're only one decision away from a completely different life, right? And that was so true. And sometimes those decisions, you stumble back and go into familiar territory again, and then you find your way again. And I really loved how you illustrated that dance in your piece of, you know, that you know, once you make the change, it doesn't mean that the change is permanent. You know, sometimes you stumble back, but then you find your way again. And that dance is, it really makes your life, it makes you who you are, right?
Mhm.
And I love how you illustrated that in your piece in the book. So
Yeah. And also it helps other people too to know, just because you don't fully embody the change that you wanted the first time you try, it doesn't mean you have to give up. It doesn't make that goal non-existent or you inferior in any way. It just means, okay, let's regroup, let's see what slipped and what kind of change again we need to make. Sometimes you make change and you don't end up in the place that you thought you were going to be in to begin with, and then you have to reevaluate and move forward, instead of allowing yourself to move backwards. So
I think that's what coming through this whole coronavirus thing has taught so many people too, is that what we were accepting as normal before wasn't working. And so we're making these changes, and we may not know what we're doing or how to go about things, and it may be messy and there may be slips and everything like this, but as long as we keep trying to move forward and trying to listen to the activists that are protesting right now, and making these changes, as long as we're willing to listen and try, then there's still so much hope for things, right?
oh
So
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
But and what else do you like to occupy your time with when you're not writing one of my books?
Yeah, well, well, like, do I do anything else? No, I'm just kidding. I read tarot, and I also am a person who makes my whole life, about seeing signs. And so it's not related only to cards or specifically to cards, even though cards are a tool that I use, but I'm also somebody who's really open to um, not only receiving messages from spirit, in my day-to-day life, but also teaching other people how to interpret symbolism and animals that come into the picture, or plants, animals, trees, situations, these things that really click, and you're just like, that's a sign. And so I teach them not to doubt that that's a sign kind of thing, but actually to roll with it and then to gain all of the knowledge from that. So that's kind of like my passion right now. And then I also help people with their social media marketing, and yeah, so I have a full
When you're open to the signs and everything, and then you start noticing them more and getting more of these confirmations, and it builds so much more confidence. And so to have somebody guiding that journey would be very helpful, because I know doubt creeps in enough in my mind, and then I'll see another sign and it's like, really, you're doubting? Come on now.
right, exactly.
And I still know that the tarot reading that you gave me was one of the most powerful ones that I got. So I am very grateful for that as well. So I definitely am a big fan of your work.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of your work because you're bringing people out of their shells, and you're encouraging them to share on a level that they probably would never have done if you hadn't encouraged them. And you have a really nice way of reminding us to come back to it and not allowing us to kind of fall off the face of the earth, or, kind of, there's also this part of, I think, every author who's like, here's my piece. Okay, I'm gonna run and hide over there, and please don't talk to me about it. Just publish it. I'm kind of.
Well, and I have so many authors that will submit a piece and then be like, can I take that back? No. And then, or it's, I don't know if I can't submit this. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And, being able to take motivation, momentum, and manifesting in the top 20 on Amazon in the self-help and spirituality, and being able to get that attention and have people connect to all the different voices. I'm really excited for our launch later this month for Choices for Change, and seeing where that can take us, because I know both from your story and the other stories in this book, it's going to help create a lot of change for people that are willing to do it. And I hope that we can encourage and inspire people to take that leap and to keep going and doing that, because you're worth it, they're worth it, the world's worth it, right?
Right. And it's exactly what we need right now. Like you said, this has opened up a lot of potential for improvement in the world. And what we need to do is we need to share stories of people changing and people going from, places of fear and uncertainty and frustration, and moving past that within themselves and moving forward, because that's where we are as a society right now. Each one of us has to make our own changes to make things better, but then all of those changes add into, kind of momentum and create this bigger, more societal level change.
Yeah. And I'm so excited for the global impact of this book too, from having you contribute from Austria and having a few authors from New Zealand as well as across Canada. And it feels like having that perspective from so many places is really adding a richness to the book as well. So I'm grateful that, all the way from Austria, and that hopefully one day we will get to meet in person and give each other that long-awaited hug.
I
So
can't wait either.
thank you so much for doing the little interview with us and discussing your piece, and we look forward to reading more in the book launch. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy. Take care.